Hello guys, Major Colton here with another build tutorial, and here is finally the build from the little teaser video I made of the Pyro tank, pretty much. And really, I really like this tank. It's really fun to use, especially when you get people just like slapping them down. They don't know what the hell's hitting them because you don't really see heat cannons too often right now. After I put out that video and started running this a little bit, like copiously though, I'm starting to see a lot more people run them again. Really hope so because I'm liking how I'm seeing more people on this server run like more stuff like this. And like I'm like this. I mean like tanks, heavies, and quads. And as a got the glorious Bubba Bow emblem on there. What better just craziness to see when you're just getting blown into the ground where you can't move. And let us mosey on over to the workshop. And let's see the internals. Right now I have these rockets on. Really, you can also use these ones right here, the SLRCB 203s. But they have a little less impact, which most of the time that doesn't really matter, but just in case. For the just in case factor, I keep the other one on, quite honestly. But that's why I like these a little bit more, quite honestly, because these barely are any better. But these have impact force, so they marginally are more like there's that that 3 out of 10 chance that it will help you really just smite somebody just out of nowhere. So that's why I like these personally more. I mean, it says right here that these have, it said in their little flavor text down there with expanded strike area. Just like how this says over a wide area. I haven't really tested it extensively, the difference of their spread, but it looked fairly the same. I think it's just saying shit to say shit, quite honestly. But as for the weapons, I have AUJ K28s, 2 of them, fully spec for accuracy. And just saying, if you want to experiment with it, I'm also probably going to here soon be making a switch to a 1 power, 2 accuracy, since it won't be that much difference and it'll add a little bit more impact force. I mean, you don't really want to use the 2 power, 1 accuracy, because then you lose like just a whole bunch of muzzle. But hey, if you can pull it off, more power to you, because that's like a lot more impact and you're more likely to stag people to the ground, quite honestly, because sometimes I hit people with these and they just don't stop. So that's why I'm probably going to add 1 power to them and try them out a little bit more. But more than half the time, it staggers them to the fucking ground whenever you alternate these. Because, yeah, reload time of 59. So if you alternate these shots, that's like a fucking rifle. Like a cannon damaged rifle. That's OP. Like, but it's balanced because the horrible muzzle velocity. I like them more in the other game because they had over 600 muzzle with fully attack spec to these. But now they're really niche weapons that you gotta know what you're doing to use them, which I kind of like that because now not everyone can run them. Now I can run, I can try and run them, and when I do it, it's like, oh, he's using heat cannons. Like I can just stay away from them. But then whenever you run up on with this tank, kind of surprises them, quite honestly, because I got 8,000 energy recovery, and I'm using the tank legs that have, I think, some of the lowest high boost energy consumption, which is basically the rate of when you're glide boosting towards them, of how fast your energy falls. It's one of the best, that's one of the best margins that you can hit when it comes to tank legs while still having adequate, decent armor. And speaking of the armor, let's start with the legs. I already showed you the stats and why I use them. You got the 244 high boost, but when you combine that with quick boosts, like with the high capacity, you just really run down people, like no joke. But I use the LTB 105 Salvatore Keens right now with the ARM W48 Haikibo arms and the Haikibo core at the same time. And I do that simply because, great CE armor, helps you buff out a few battle rifles, most of the rifles. And, they got a good 171 firing stability. So that actually increases our fire rate. So it really, 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 really helps with the stag lock. With the, you know, really keeps that 1-2 punch just like da 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 da. It like helps you hit that much faster and more likely ensure that they're not like once they're there, they're not moving. You're basically shooting them until they're dead. And like there is no, you know, there is no fighting back. Just GG smiley face after that point from the first few hits. As for the head, HDG A88 is the head I like to use on my light tanks, quite simply for head armor, and it's got great internals for armor. Like this is one of my favorite CE heads for tanks. Like this is like one of the only CE heads I'll actually run on a tank, especially the kinds I run, which I really, you know, go for whatnot. And really, and as you might be wondering, why the hell do you not have any back weapons, Colton? Or you've lost your damn mind? But no, I actually haven't. I've been experimenting with kickbotting, like, you know, kicking people with kickbot tanks, and I've seen quite a few people actually just go into free battles with nothing but KE shields on their tank, like just 2 on the front. And they just like kill everybody, and seen them running on Conquest. They just run out there and just kill everybody. And I've actually ran on a few stories with this, like after my heat cans have gone on, or even before I even fired the heat cannons, like I just saw an enemy tank and just went up and straight up kicked them, like a few times. Didn't even have the shields out because I still had my cans out and I didn't want to purge them or nothing like that, but they're really good in the late game of the match, like just in case, you know, if push comes to shove. And also, like, I found them saving my life a few times. This one right here saved my life because of sniper cannon users, like being the last few people and I had low health, or if they're snipers or sniper cannons, just purge off that one and just have this KE shield. Pray to God they don't got a CE machine gun. If they're a sniper, they probably do, so it's probably not worth it. And this one, CE shield, I don't really purge that one too often. Like, quite honestly, that would only happen if I was like getting roasted by the whole, had like 2 or 3 people all using battle rifles and I was waiting for backup. That's the only time I would probably ever purge that. As for the SCS, I'm using the FA215, so you got that big lock-on size, pretty good lock-on range. All the lock-on range you're going to ever need for these weapons, like straight up, you don't need any more. I'll tell you that right now. And it's got great lock-on computation, so you instantly lock on with these. I mean, your base lock-on time is like 84. You want to instantly lock on with these, with what you're doing, like every second counts. Like, you need to just be in there smacking them to death right off the bat. You can't waste any time. When that moment's there, you got to seize it. So, like, that FCS is really great for that. As for the generator, my bad, you want to use the Makabashira Model 3. Sure, you don't have as much energy output on it, but this tank really is very energy efficient. Especially since, you know, it turns into a kickbot after those are done. That requires very much more skill to do. So if you're not, I would say if you want to use these shields, like basically just go and practice against some UNACs, then maybe go into free battles and practice it and whatnot. Like maybe practice it on some flat maps first and try and get good with it and stuff like that. I mean, it's not an easy thing to learn. It's very difficult depending on the people you're playing with and the crowd you associate yourself with. Like, you know, skill level wise, like in the upper tier play, like there are people who can just, like, it don't matter who you are, they're gonna just kick the living shit out of you. And then, like, for the rest of us, we gotta work towards it because, you know, if you gun a lot, you know, you can't. This gets rusty. If you do this a lot, this gets rusty. I've noticed, like among people making comments of stuff getting rusty and whatnot, and vice versa because of usage of things. And really, why rocket pods, you might say? Why not just use VDFs? They also have K explosive force. Well, the thing is, these have reload time of 36, and I don't have to lock on, so just do, and every time, just 4. It's like a bunch of VDFs, just like, it's like VDFs, but with like 4 or 5 times the speed of launching, and with them not being able to move, you really just roast them. Like, they're dead in seconds. If you watch some few of my videos, like, where I just am able to pull that off, it's just a beautiful sight of just fire and destruction, just literally just fire everywhere. And that's why I like this build, is because it's one of the few things that bring fire. Because, you know, like, they're KE explosive rockets, but they blow up in just big old fiery explosions. And these are heat cans, so they're basically big chemical wads of fiery death. And really, it's just a super heavy hitter. It's a really fun build. I really enjoy it. and I think you may enjoy it too. So give it a try. If you like the video, comment, like, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.